So again, I go back to the beginning, and the purpose of all these recordings is to practice my English, because it is easier for me to record the videos in the way of YouTube videos and then publish them on my channel than just record them to my dictaphone and listen to this audio recordings. Yeah, somehow it's easier for me to listen to my own videos when I have the picture of me for this video, even though there is no some information or other stuff that helps to understand the topic that I talk about. So my goal was to learn to speak English at level B1, B2. In the beginning of this way to achieve this speaking level, I had 2 of 4 skills in English, like reading and listening to. I read lots of books in English, popular books on programming, any other stuff like philosophy, maybe success, and some books, of course, science fiction books. And I listened to several success books. They are not about success in real, but about the interesting situations. And these books like Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, some book about to-do list. I don't know the author, but it was quite cool, and deep thinking, which is the opposite way of shallow thinking or shallow learning, maybe. Okay, all this stuff, and of course some fiction audio books like what? Of course, Twilight, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and other stuff. So, and I watched lots of movies and animes, some seminars by Tracy, and some video courses on programming and other stuff. Anyway, my English was passive because I spent 10 years and I learned to understand the English, to understand the ideas behind the English words. I think the same way in Russian, or maybe I got the information the same way in Russian. When I read some sentence in Russian or listen to some sentence, then I get some idea from behind this sentence, behind the Russian words in my mind. And when I try to repeat this idea, I usually don't know the words that were used. I just use some of my words and lots of unnecessary for me information, the information that I think is not so important. My brain just skips it, and I retell some story with absolutely different Russian words and with absolutely different way of describing things. And this is how I get the ideas from the text, from listening to something in Russian, from reading something in Russian. And I developed the same ability in English. I could listen to or read something in English, and then I got the direct ideas from the text. I couldn't describe what words were used in this particular text or audio. And again, I could describe this idea, but in Russian with my own words. And my goal was to describe these ideas in English the same way I describe them in Russian. Like, I need enough vocabulary to describe almost every idea that I want, and for most of the variants I use synonyms in Russian to describe any idea that I learn with different words. So I need to have enough synonyms in my active vocabulary in English to do the same thing. Yeah, and my first task was, okay, I had two tasks. I needed to improve, enlarge, expand my active vocabulary. So I found lots of or some texts, like sentences in Russian with the corresponding sentences in English, and I closed, I hid, I covered the English variants, and then I tried to translate the Russian sentences, and then I opened the English translation and checked the results. Well, that helped me to improve some of my words, it helped me to use some of English words that I never used, because I never had any English practice. Anything that I used, it was like I go to school every day, and some small stuff like I draw pictures or something. So it was the first step, and then I tried to go into this speaking state, and I can describe this speaking state as being able to float on the water, even without swimming in it using any correct technique. Just the way when I got into water, to use my arms and legs and help me to stay above the surface of the water, no matter what, no matter how many time it will take. Yeah, it was the basic state that I wanted to achieve with my English speaking practice. And finally, I think I achieved this state. Yeah, I was able to speak to my tutor, and now I use this feeling, this experience to record these audio monologues in English, and yeah, I feel quite confident with this stuff right now, and now I feel like I am a third grade or fourth grade pupil in the school with the advanced level of English, when at the fourth grade they are able to describe any ideas in the world, or any ideas they have in their minds, with the vocabulary they already knew or they already learned. It doesn't mean that they know all the words, but for the words they can't describe with the correct English equivalence, they can use some substitutes like this thing, did something, make something, made something, or they just can what they can use some synonyms or the definition way of describing things when you can't explain the correct word that you want to use in Russian, but you don't know this word in English. For example, just now I encountered some particular word in Russian from Skulte, and this is quite a common word in everyday life. At least I knew it quite well. I knew it quite well in Russian. Even I knew one song from Russian rock band DDT where this word is used, and the word is karniz. Yeah, but I don't know the particular word. Well, at some point I learned this word when I used the technique of translating the sentence in Russian and then checking my answer in English. Yeah, and I got this word, but I didn't try to learn it by heart because, well, I don't have the situation to use it in, let's say, my monologues. So and I never heard this word in any movie or in any audiobook. So, and now I met this word again in this Scooter book. So I applied this technique of giving definition, like something that I don't know how to express in English, but this is the part of the window and it's in the bottom of the window. I think it's outside. It's outside, and this is the narrow the narrow line, the narrow stripe or space at the bottom of the window, and maybe some birds can sit on this narrow space in front of your window. Yeah, so this is it. This is the description, and I think that the person will understand me. The person will understand the word that I want to use, and if the person, the English speaking person, he or she can give me the right word for it, or we'll just go with the understanding of this particular term. So, yeah, for now I reached this level when I can use my active vocabulary quite freely, and I try to explain everything that I can't express in the correct English word with something substitutes or with some definitions or synonyms. And now my current goal, first of all, is to continue this monologue practice. I like this type of speech that is happening right now, because it's more about abstract ideas, but these abstract ideas are based on my current experience in English. It's more interesting for me than just describing some plot of the movie that I watched a long time ago. Yeah. and these describing these abstract ideas as I do right now, it's more like the real conversation with some people, with some maybe friends. It's not just it's difficult to express, to tell the person the plot of some particular movie during 40 minutes, because it's not very natural. Anyway, my current this is the first step. The first goal is to continue this speaking practice, and the second goal is to revive in my memory the words that I knew in English, but I never created this connection between the idea and the English word from this point of view. So I discovered this interesting moment that in general, when person learns some foreign language correctly or in the courses, then all four skills of the person are improved like simultaneously. So let's say in German or in Spanish, for example, I learn a new let's say several words, and then first I learn the translations into Russian, then I learn to read them in small texts which consist only of these words. Then I learn to hear them in the conversation with my teacher, or maybe in some learning materials recorded on the audio tape. So these are two skills. Next, I learn to write some ideas that I create from these words according to some templates, examples, but I don't just repeat the sentences in this example. I really create something new. Maybe I add some new name or some new fact into the sentence. And this is the third skill. And the fourth skill is to talk on the topic that can be described with these words. And this is quite limited topic, but when I pronounce it with the intention of describing these ideas with these particular words, my brain will get this way of using these words, and my brain will connect them to the ideas. So I found two maybe roots in our brain that in our brains, and these roots work for learning English here. And the one is obviously the passive way, and the second one is the active one. The passive way works like recognizing the word in the writing, and recognizing the word in the audio tape, and getting the idea from this word straight into your mind without translating it into, let's say, your native language first. Just you get the word, the idea from the words by listening to the words or by reading the words, without this intermediate step, the way we understand the writings and the audio in our native language. So this type of English passive skill was developed in me for 10 years by myself. But the second type is the active one, when I need the connection between the idea I have in my mind and the word to explain this idea. And unfortunately, having the connection from the word to the idea is not equal to the connection from the idea to the word. Now I need to create all these opposite connections from the ideas to the words. The only advantage that I have is that I know lots of words that I can use, but I just don't, I'm not ready to use of that because I have no these connections in my brain. But I don't need to learn these words because I know maybe 80% of all active vocabulary that I need, maybe in my life. So I just need to create this opposite connection from the idea to the word. I don't need to learn this word. I don't need to learn the way it is written, the way it is, the way it is pronounced, because I already know all the stuff. I just need to create the connection. So this is my second goal, and I'm going to practice this connection making stuff for the next maybe month. And I think I will, if I spend, let's say, 15 minutes a day on this connection making stuff, the brain maybe will go in an exponential way. Like for the first 2 weeks it will get only the connections that I will explicitly show to it, like with dictionary from Russian into English, but maybe later my brain will adapt to this idea and it will find the the opposite movement, the link between the idea and the right word by itself, like checking for the words and getting them to me to decide which word is the best one to get this link between the idea and the word. I hope that this will work. But to do this in the first place, I need to spend lots of time regularly practicing the stuff the way I practice my monologues right now, trying to record a small video each day. So I think this is all for the ideas on learning English and about the way I plan to improve my speaking active vocabulary. So for now, that's all with this. So I decided to talk a little about Impressionists, just some basic stuff that I remember about them, because I was interested in Impressionists, I think, for the whole year or maybe 2 years in 2017 or 18, and I didn't read or watched any videos about them since of that time. But I remember the impression that I had about the Impressionists and the way I was introduced to them by some events. Anyway, I was in the team of people who think that the drawing, the painting, should be as close to the photography, to the real world as it can be. Like realism, not realism, but let's say Raphael or Michelangelo Michelangelo. Okay, Michelangelo and Da Vinci, they wrote very beautiful, uh, divine paintings with very beautiful faces, very detailed lines, or let's say portraits of some kings and queens with all these beautiful clothes and dresses as if they were real, yeah. Or this legend about two painters who, or artists, who wanted to decide who was the best painter, the best artist. So they went to the open air, and in some square in front of many people, they each of them drew one of the paintings, and first one painted the curtain that covered part of the picture, and some person wanted to like move the curtain to the side and open that part of the picture, and this artist fooled the real person into believing that these curtains made of clothes were real. But the other artist drew some grains, and the real birds came to peck these grains, and they tried to eat these grains. And the first artist with the curtain, he admitted that the second artist was the greater artist, because he even fooled the nature itself, the birds. So I always believed that the painting should be created, should be painted this way. So it must be as close to the real world as possible. And it was hard for me to understand all these impressionists with their strange way of creating these pictures. Then there were some even I don't know, postmodernismists, and then Picasso. I liked Salvador Dali, because his paintings were close to these Renaissance artists. The way he drew all this like imaginary stuff, but each element of the stuff was very, very realistic. The elephants, the table of the clocks, and other stuff. And the only thing that was unrealistic is like all these elements were put into the picture, yeah. But each of elements were very, very real. But with Picasso, yeah, Van Gogh and Monet, all the paintings were even not abstract, but somehow they were not real paintings for me. And it was a very interesting trigger that made me to rethink this idea, then learn about Impressionists, and finally kind of like the style. Yeah, I watched the sixth season of Doctor Who. I mean the fifth or the sixth season in the continuation, in the modern continuation of Doctor Who since 2005, with this actor who played the Third Doctor, with this red-headed girl, Amy. Yeah, and at some point they move. He took her. The Doctor took her. She was the fan of Van Gogh, so he took her to the exhibition, to the museum of Van Gogh's museum I think in Paris. Yeah, they watched all these paintings, and then he took her. The Doctor took her to the 1890s, to the time when Van Gogh lived, and they had this fantastic encounter, because the Doctor is always about some science fiction. Van Gogh was chased by some animal, that invisible animal, and only he was the only one who saw this creature, and everyone thought that Van Gogh was mad, but Doctor somehow saw this creature as well. But for us, for the viewers, the creature was invisible, and somehow they fought against this creature, they killed it, and then the Doctor apologized for it, monster from the cosmos, for kind of killing it, because he never, the Doctor never wanted to kill anybody, but sometimes he had no choice, because he had to protect someone when the other creature wanted to kill this first person. So this invisible monster wanted to kill Van Gogh, so they killed this monster. But when they waited for this monster to find it, at some point Van Gogh, Amy, and the Doctor, they laid on the grass somewhere in the meadow under the night sky, and the creators of this episode, they used the computer graphics to show the painting of the Starry Night, the way Van Gogh depicted, painted some waves in the night sky. These waves went around the stars, yeah, and somehow along the horizon, and they showed, the creators of this series showed this particular special effect through the eyes of Van Gogh. Van Gogh saw the night sky this way, and at this moment I understood that all these pictures of Impressionists, of Picasso, Van Gogh, Gauguin, they all saw the world around them this way, and it was the way to this painting style was the way to show the world the way they saw this world, yeah, not just like the almost real-like pictures of, let's say, Dali and Raphael or Da Vinci, but their unique way. Like, yeah, it was the impression. They tried to show this impression. It's more like music, because when I see the perfect picture of Da Vinci when he painted some horses, the beautiful muscles, like legs, bodies, and they looked very, very realistic before the invention of any photography. I can see the real horses and check and compare them to the paintings of Da Vinci, and I can say that they are real because I see them the same way. But you know, I can't create any music because I have no musical education to just play any music on some musical instrument or recognize the music by ear, or even see different tones, different notes of the music in my head. Yeah, I have no disability, so when I listen to some musical compositions, I just try to understand, to see this area of the world, to hear this area of the world the way the composers hear it, yeah, and the same. But I can never experience it myself the same way. I can never experience these impressions that the Impressionists had in their head about the world around them, and that they put in the paintings. But this small special effect of the night sky, yeah, from Van Gogh's Starry Night picture, it helped me to understand this particular way of expressing, of showing the impressions about the world. And in the same episode, it was the small fantastic I don't know, speculation. I don't know if this is the right word. Some fantastic invention of the script writers, that Van Gogh hated sunflowers because he didn't see anything magical in them, or they were not worthy of his attention. But at some point, Amy showed Van Gogh that this composition when someone died and there were funeral procession with the coffin, and then some sunflowers were put on this coffin, and somehow Van Gogh saw the connection between the death, the sunflowers, and some beauty. And since then, sunflowers became his almost favorite flowers. And when the doctor with Amy returned to the Van Gogh's museum in Paris to our modern time, she saw that Van Gogh drew the new picture of sunflowers in the vase, which is his famous painting. But he also had made a writing on the vase, like Amy to Amy. Of course, this is the fantastic part, but it was quite interesting to see this particular way of interpreting Van Gogh's life. And another thing that triggered my interest of Impressionists, but this thing was not particularly about the Impressionists. It was about the episode itself. So Van Gogh's, okay, I don't know. Okay, Van Gogh was played by some particular actor, British actor, and there was this manager of the museum, of this Van Gogh's museum in Paris, who knew everything about him. He was kind of his biographer. And with the help of the doctor, Van Gogh visited his own museum in this modern time, and then he talked to this manager of the museum, and this biographer, he didn't know that this Van Gogh was real, that he came from the past, and he just described to him his feelings about Van Gogh, that according to him, to his opinion, Van Gogh was the greatest painter of all time. Yeah, and the real Van Gogh from the past was very excited with this description of his what is create works in painting, and he came back to his time, but he shot himself in spite of knowing that his paintings would be so successful. Anyway, Van Gogh's actor and museum's manager's actor, they were two famous British actors, and in the movie The Underworld, the second part, they played two ancient vampires. The biographer played Victor, and Van Gogh played Marcus. And well, they did not interact in the movie because when Marcus was resurrected, Victor was already dead. But at some point in the prequel part of this movie, they fought together against old werewolves, because they both were vampires. And it was really cool for me because I knew this movie quite well, and these two particular actors were invited to this episode and played these two characters. Yeah, I think the director of this episode, he knew about this movie, the Underworld Part 2, and it was intentional. He intentional, yeah. He made this two roles for these actors on purpose. Yeah, so this was another impression that made me interested in Impressionists. Yeah, so though this actors' connection did not have anything with the real Impressionists. For me, it was like the link between the something that I like, the underworld of the second, to the Impressionists that were unknown territory for me. And when I get this link from something I like to the unknown, it's easier to kind of connect these two areas, and then like the energy of interest goes through this link to the unknown territory, and I become interested in this territory as well, and I start to explore this territory, and there are big chances that I will be interested in this territory as well. So that was a really cool something, like the way of the fate that showed me the world of Impressionists. Yeah, and I think I'm going to talk about the Impressionists in my future monologues. Yeah, and maybe I will rewatch some lectures on Impressionists that I watched a couple of times, like 7 years ago. So I will have, so that I would have more information to share in these monologues that are intended for improving my speaking English. So I have more than 45 minutes of recording, and that's all for today.